The medical pod hummed with a frequency that made Bella's teeth ache. Through the translucent canopy, she could see Leo's chest rising and falling in shallow, irregular breaths. The Krillian poison worked fast, too fast for human physiology to compensate. The ship's AI had given him 43 minutes. That was 17 minutes ago. "Status," Bella demanded, her voice cutting through the sterile air of the medbay. "Neurological degradation at 67%, the AI responded in its maddeningly calm tone. "Renal failure imminent. Cardiovascular collapse projected in 21 minutes, 14 seconds. Bella's hands moved across the holographic interface with practiced precision. She had been a combat medic in the Terran Defense Fleet for 8 years before joining Leo's crew. She had pulled soldiers from the brink of death in conditions that would make most physicians weep. But this was different. This was Leo. "Not acceptable," she muttered, fingers dancing through medicinal protocols and experimental treatments that the AI kept flagging as inadvisable or untested on human subjects. The Krillian ambassador had seemed so sincere during the negotiations. The Alliance Council had believed him when he spoke of peace, of cooperation between their species and humanity. Leo, ever the idealist, had been the first to extend his hand in friendship. The poison had been on the ambassador's palm, a microscopic patch of engineered death designed specifically to target human DNA. It was an act of war disguised as a handshake. Bella pulled up the chemical breakdown of the toxin. It was elegant in its lethality, a cascading failure system that turned the body's own immune response into a weapon against itself. The Krillians had been studying humanity for longer than anyone had realized. They knew exactly how to kill them. "Bella," Leo's voice was barely a whisper, filtered through the pod's communication system. She looked up, meeting his eyes through the canopy. They were the same warm brown they'd always been, even as the poison slowly shut down his systems one by one. "Save your strength," she said, forcing steadiness into her voice. "We both know," he coughed, a wet, rattling sound that made her heart clench. "The statistics, I've seen them too. Statistics are just numbers until they're not." She returned her attention to the interface, pulling up the ship's pharmaceutical database. There had to be something, some combination of compounds that could slow the poison's progression. "Bella, listen to me." His voice carried a tone she recognized, the one he used when he was about to be insufferably noble. "You need to get this information back to Earth. The Council needs to know the Krillians are hostile. That's more important than—" "Don't," the word came out sharper than she intended. "Don't you dare finish that sentence." She initialized a radical detoxification protocol, one that the AI immediately flagged with a crimson warning. The risk of cardiac arrest was 93%, but doing nothing carried a 100% certainty of death. "Override," she commanded. "Authorization Sigma 7 Tango." "Override rejected," the AI responded. "This procedure requires—" "I said override." Her fist slammed against the console, sending a spiderweb of cracks across the haptic interface. "My ship, my crew, my authorization." "Bella," Leo's voice was weaker now. "It's okay, you'll be okay." She moved to the side of the pod, placing her palm against the warm surface. Inside, Leo lifted his hand to mirror hers, separated by inches of reinforced polymer. "If you die," she whispered, her voice dropping to something raw and primal, "I'll burn the galaxy." Through the canopy, she saw his lips curve into that familiar half-smile, the one that had first made her realize she loved him 3 years ago on a supply run to Epsilon Station. "I believe you," he said. The medbay door hissed open. Bella spun, hand instinctively reaching for the plasma pistol at her hip, but it was just Kex, their Vorthian engineer. The massive alien filled the doorway, his 4 eyes blinking in concern. "Captain Bella," he rumbled in his deep, resonant voice, "I may have solution." She stared at him, talk fast. Kex lumbered to the console, his three-fingered hand surprisingly delicate on the controls. Kryllian poison targets human DNA, yes. Very specific, very precise. He pulled up a molecular model. But what if we make Leo's DNA temporarily not human? Bella's mind raced ahead of his explanation. Gene therapy. You want to modify his genetic code on the fly. Vorthian medical science has been using adaptive gene modification for centuries, Kex explained. We change our own DNA to survive different atmospheres, different gravities. Is temporary, is dangerous, but might confuse poison long enough for body to flush toxins. Survival rate, she demanded. Unknown for human, for Vorthian 60%, but Leo is already dying. This way he has chance. Bella looked back at Leo. His eyes were closed now, his breathing more labored. 16 minutes left if the AI's projections were accurate. Do it, she said. Kex worked with surprising speed, his thick fingers inputting commands and uploading Vorthian medical algorithms into the human medpod systems. Warning lights flashed across every console. The ship's AI protested with increasing urgency about unauthorized genetic modification, species-incompatible procedures, violation of Terran medical protocols. Bella ignored it all. Ready, Kex announced. But Bella, you should know if this works, Leo will be different, temporarily, maybe permanently. Genetic changes are unpredictable in humans. She met Leo's gaze through the canopy one more time. His eyes opened, and somehow, even dying, he managed to look concerned. Concerned for her, for what this might do to her if it failed. I don't care if he comes out with tentacles and purple skin, Bella said. Alive is all that matters. Her hand hovered over the execute command. One press, and they would flood Leo's system with Vorthian gene-modifying nanites, rewriting his DNA in real time while simultaneously initiating the aggressive detox protocol. The combined stress on his body could kill him in seconds, or it could save him. If this works, Leo managed to say, his voice barely audible, promise me you won't actually burn the galaxy. Bella's finger descended onto the holographic button. No promises. The medpod erupted with light and sound. Leo's body convulsed as billions of microscopic machines invaded his cells, rewriting the fundamental code of his existence. The monitors screamed warnings as his vital signs fluctuated wildly, heart rate spiking to dangerous levels, then dropping precipitously, blood pressure oscillating like a sine wave. Bella watched every second, her own heart hammering in her chest. Her hand had found Kex's massive arm, gripping it with white-knuckled intensity. The Vorthian didn't pull away. 3 minutes passed, then 5, then 10. Slowly, impossibly, the vital signs began to stabilize. The toxin levels in Leo's bloodstream started to drop as his temporarily alien immune system recognized and attacked the poison. His breathing deepened, became more regular. It's working, Kex said, his voice filled with something like wonder. Bella felt tears streaming down her face, though she couldn't remember when she'd started crying. She wiped them away roughly with the back of her hand. The medpod's detoxification cycle completed with a soft chime. The canopy hissed open, releasing a cloud of cool vapor. Leo lay still for a moment, then his eyes opened. Still brown, still human, still him. Hey, he croaked. Hey yourself, Bella replied, reaching in to grasp his hand. It was warm, alive, real. Welcome back. He looked down at himself, flexing his fingers experimentally. I feel strange, different. Your genetic code is currently about 40% Vorthian, Kex explained. Will revert over next few weeks as human DNA reasserts itself. Probably. Most likely. We hope. Leo laughed, which turned into a cough, but it was a healthy cough, the cough of a living man, not a dying one. 40% alien. That's going to make for an interesting medical report. Bella helped him sit up slowly. You scared me, she said quietly. I know, he squeezed her hand, but you saved me again." "Always," she promised. Then, with a ghost of a smile, "though I was really looking forward to burning down the Krillian homeworld. Had the whole thing planned out." "I'm sure you did." Leo swung his legs over the side of the pod, Kex and Bella supporting him as he stood on unsteady legs. "But maybe we save the galaxy burning for special occasions." She leaned her forehead against his shoulder briefly, allowing herself one moment of relief before snapping back into captain mode. "We still need to get word to Earth about the Krillians' betrayal. This was a coordinated attack, not a rogue agent." "Agreed," Leo said. "And we need to figure out why they wanted me dead specifically." As they made their way toward the bridge, Bella kept one hand on her pistol and the other supporting Leo. The galaxy had just become a far more dangerous place. The Krillians had made their move, showing their hand in the deadliest way possible. But they had made one critical miscalculation. They had underestimated what Bella would do to protect the people she loved, what humanity would do when backed into a corner. The Krillians wanted war. They would get war. Not the quick, clean assassination they had planned, but something far more dangerous. A species that refused to lie down and die, that would adapt, survive, and overcome any obstacle. And if they came for Leo again, Bella would make good on her whispered promise. She would burn the entire galaxy to ash before she let him go. Leo caught her expression and smiled knowingly. "You're still planning to burn something, aren't you?" "Just their entire military infrastructure," Bella replied innocently. "Nothing major." Behind them, Kex rumbled with what might have been laughter. "Humans," he muttered, "always so dramatic." But as he watched Bella help Leo into the captain's chair, saw the fierce determination in her eyes and the grateful warmth in Leo's, the Vorthian engineer thought that perhaps that human drama, that refusal to accept defeat, that burning loyalty to one another, was exactly what the galaxy needed. The Krillians had awakened something they didn't understand. They had threatened humanity's future, and humanity had answered not with surrender but with defiance. The war was coming, but this time humanity wouldn't be the prey.